Hi guys, it's LaToya, and today I'm going to share with you some tips that I have on how to transition to natural. So if this video interests you, then go ahead and keep watching. So I'm just gonna go right into my tips. I have 5 of them for you today. So tip number 1 is to trim your hair often. When I was transitioning, I would trim my hair about maybe like every 3 months or so. For me, that's about the range of when I was comfortable trimming my hair. If you want to do yours more frequently, then that's cool. Or if you want to spread out your trimmings a little bit more than that, then that's cool as well. It's totally up to you and what you're comfortable with. But the reason why you want to trim your hair is because as your new growth starts to come in and your hair starts to grow out, your relaxed ends now are becoming the weakest part of your hair. And the same as, if you have split ends or dead ends, you want to cut those off. You want to gradually cut off your relaxed ends. Number 1, so your hair can grow in healthy. And number 2, because the whole point of you transitioning is so you can eventually get rid of your relaxed ends and become fully natural. And it is important to trim your hair with cutting shears and not just regular scissors. I think when I was trimming my hair, I would do it with regular scissors, but it's better to cut your hair with cutting shears, which you can get at like Sally's or Walmart or any beauty supply store. Tip number 2 is to moisturize your hair from root to tip. I say from root to tip because some people, say, oh, you should focus on your roots because that's the newest part of your hair. Some people say you should focus on your ends because that's the oldest part of your hair. I think that when moisturizing, and especially when you're transitioning, that you should focus on the entire strand because there is a lot going on when you are transitioning. You want to moisturize your roots because yes, that is the newest part of your hair. And you want to make sure that your new natural hair that is growing in is staying nice and moisturized, so you start off with having healthy natural hair. You want to moisturize your ends because even though you're going to eventually cut off your relaxed ends, you don't want them to break off before you're ready to lose them. So you want to make sure that they're moisturized so they at least hang on as long as you would like them to. And then you want to make sure that you get the entire shaft of hair, especially at the line of demarcation, which is where your natural hair meets your relaxed hair. Because again, you don't want your hair to break off at that point, which is very likely to happen during your transition period. So to prevent that from having a big chop, basically before you're ready for one, you want to make sure that your entire strand is moisturized so you can hold on to your hair for as long as you want. My 3rd tip is to set a goal or a date for yourself. My goal was that I wanted my natural hair to be at the same length that my relaxed hair was when I started my transition, which it wasn't at exactly, it was a little shy of that, but it was pretty close when I did eventually do my big chop. So that's what I mean by setting a goal, that you want your natural hair to be at a certain length by the time you decide to go completely natural. And to set a date, I said that I wanted to transition for 2 years, but I actually only ended up doing 1.5 years. But it's still good to set a goal for yourself so you know have something to look forward to and you know what direction that you're going in. My 4th tip is kind of a 2-in-1. It is be patient and be realistic. With that, I mean you have to be patient with your hair in terms of at the rate that it's going to grow in, and your hair when you're transitioning, especially like when you reach, I forget where my difficult stage was, but it was like probably between like 3 and 6 months, around that time when I was like 6 months into my transition. My hair became very like unruly and tangled, and it was very frustrating to work with. So that's what I mean by be patient with your hair. You will get into a couple rough patches, but you will overcome them and you will learn how to manage your hair in the current state that it's in. With that, you could also help with you know, maybe getting braids or a weave or sew-in or something like that, so you don't have to deal with your hair when it's in those rough stages. And then, like I said, be patient with the growth. Your hair is not going to grow overnight, even though it'd be great if we could just say, all right, I want 3 inches by the morning, and then we would have 3 more inches of hair. But obviously that's not going to happen, so you have to be patient with the rate that your hair grows in, and don't compare it to the rate that someone else's hair grows. And then as far as being realistic, I mean, yeah, and realistic of the rate that your hair is going to grow in, but also be realistic of the hair texture that you have. If you've been relaxed for a long time like I was, you might not really remember the hair texture that you had, but if you have pictures from when you were younger, then maybe you can see like, okay, so that's what my hair texture looked like when I was younger, so it's gonna look a little similar to that now. You know, if you knew that you had type 3 hair when you were younger, you're not all of a sudden gonna have type 4 or vice versa. So yeah, just be realistic about what is growing out of your head, and love whatever is growing out of your head, because that's the way that you were meant to be. And then my last tip number 5, is to find support during your transition, whether that's with other friends that are transitioning, other friends that are already natural, or maybe they're not natural but they support you in your journey to love your natural hair. Or you know, find someone on YouTube who is also transitioning and you want to follow their journey, or someone that's already natural and you want to get inspiration from them. You know, whatever it is that you find hair inspiration from, definitely you're gonna need that during your transition, because there's gonna be times where it's stressful and you kind of want to give up. But if you have the support from others and inspiration online, then that will help you keep your eye on the prize and realize why you decided to transition anyway. So there are tons of other things that go into transitioning, but those are my top 5 tips. If you have any other tips, then be sure to comment them down below and share them with me. And if you have any questions about transitioning, I have a whole series on when I went through my transition, so I'll link all those videos in the description box below, but feel free to also comment any questions that you might have. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!